I'm trying to.
All right, appreciate everybody being here for our pre-meeting work session for our 10 a.m. meeting this morning. Probably a pretty short pre-meeting. First item on the agenda is approval of December 2024 monthly bills. No changes. Any questions? All right, next approval of minutes. December 30th, 2024, 5 p.m. council work session. January 6th, 2025, 5:30 p.m. council work session. January 6th, 2025, 6 p.m. council meeting. There were no changes. Any questions? All right, resolutions. Resolution 25007, approved farmers market art projection project.
There's no change to that.
Any questions? Resolution 25008, authorize the mayor to execute contract with ESRI.
Okay.
Any questions? And then resolution 25009, approved transfer of funding to purchase retro reflectometer and software for traffic signs and markings department.
No changes.
Any questions? Anything to add? All right, we'll get started at 10. Thanks. All right, call the meeting to order.
Father, we are grateful for this day to come into the council chambers to do business. We ask you give us wisdom and strength. May we just do things that are uplifting for this city. And we give you all the glory and praise in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Here.
Holly.
Here.
Jackson. Here. McMasters.
Here.
Pepper.
All right, first on the agenda would be agenda-related comments. Mr. Faruqi.
Okay. 470 checks were written last month in December. 11 pages if you went through them all. There was one check written for $4.93 million for the month of December on behalf of Decatur City Schools. What's interesting about that to me is that Decatur City Schools are the worst performing in our county, if I understood the article from the Decatur Daily. The minutes for the 15 January school board, did you attend that, Mr. McMasters?
I did not.
Did anybody here attend that?
No.
Okay. The minutes took all of 17 minutes to accomplish that meeting. There was no addressing of any of these issues in terms of how we can improve city schools. And you as a liaison should probably be looking into that, I would offer. So $4.9 million for the worst performing schools in the county. How will Decatur City Schools improve their performance or at least become competitive with some of the local schools?
Have you asked them?
You're the liaison, so I'm asking
You
you.
asked them?
Is that going to be your answer?
That is going to be the
Okay.
answer. They have an independent school board.
And you are the liaison to that school board. So when a citizen comes to this body asking questions about its schools, maybe you could answer those in the future.
It's set up by resolution.
Okay, and I resolve that you are incompetent in providing us information about the Decatur City Schools.
I resolve that you bloviate on things you know nothing about.
Okay, 4-syllable words, thank you. What was also in that, I think in the Decatur Daily, talked about the purchasing of a ESL supervisor. Is that a new position for us in the city?
I'm not sure.
ESL supervisor for the city of Decatur.
For the Decatur City Schools.
Okay, we wouldn't know anything about that.
Okay, what you do know is there's a Decatur 1 plan, right?
There's a one Decatur plan. You struggle with that.
I'm sorry?
One Decatur.
Okay, there is a 1 Decatur plan.
Yes, sir.
Have you read it?
Yes, sir.
Have you read what it talked about in terms of improving schools?
I can't remember what it said.
You don't remember that, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you remember anything about another check written for $84,000 in the month of December to McPherson Oil?
To who?
McPherson Oil. Okay, that's the one that provides you with, I'm telling you, this is what provides you with fuel for all the city vehicles. And we've already demonstrated that Mr. Dane Shaw has an inability to understand waste, fraud, and abuse and the misuse of vehicles. And is there a policy in the city of Decatur?
I'm just going to stop you there. That is not true. In fact, you've asked all of us that, and we've said we have no issue with the issue you continue to bring up. I think we all answered that last week.
So you have no issue with fraud, waste, and abuse?
I do, but that what you're describing is not that. So I just wanted to be clear on that.
Okay.
With all due respect.
Okay, and with all due respect to you, if we saved 5% of the $84,000 for the month of December times 12, that's over $50,000 for a $1 million budget. So I believe there's an interest in perhaps having a policy, which costs you nothing to do, Mayor, and nothing for you, City Council, to address as an issue for the city of Decatur that could save us $50,000.
I think that's a valid point to be made. The issue you continue to bring up is not, but I think.
What is the issue?
Having a policy is, you're talking about a specific instance, we've all 4 of us, 5, counting the mayor, have answered that we didn't have an issue, the issue that you continue to bring up, the specific issue. I think having a policy is a good idea.
Okay, when could we expect a policy like that to be drafted up?
I believe it was said that was something being looked at. I thought that deferred to the mayor.
Would you like me to draft that policy and present it to you next week? Because it takes all of that much time to do. Mayor?
I think I'm good.
I'm sure you are not. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we move into the agenda. First item is approval of monthly bills. Approve December 2024 monthly bills.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters. Second. Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Jackson. McMasters.
Aye.
Monthly bills are approved 4-0. Approval of minutes. We good on we'll take all these at once.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters. Second. Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
The minutes are approved 4-0. Resolution 25007, approved farmers market, our projection project.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Kelly Thomas, Decatur Downtown Redevelopment Authority. We are trying to get the underside of the Gordon Terry overpass uplit with projection mapping and lighting that would be mounted on the roof line of the farmers market. Those projectors have a 10-year lifespan, including their bulbs and maintenance. This is being done by Chris Kemp, who's worked with the Princess extensively, and I've also worked with him on separate projects. This is actually being funded by a grant that was we secured with the help of Senator Orr and Representative Parker Moore, and then DDRA will cover the remaining cost.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion?
Will it be seasonal?
It can be. So it's going to be generated by student art. So we'll request students from the ACA and other downtown arts students to submit pieces to us through an Adobe template, and then DDRA and the Public Art Committee will curate it.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Resolution 25.
Thank you all so much.
Approves 4-0. Resolution 25008, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with ESRI. Brad.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Brad Phillips, Information Systems. As I mentioned in the work session, this is just more of a formality to continue our contract with ESRI for 3 more years. This is our GIS software that this contract covers DU as well as.
We split, what was it called?
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have a motion? So moved. Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Resolution 25008 is approved 4-0. Resolution 25009, approved transfer of funding to purchase retro reflectometer and software for traffic signs and markings department.
Good morning, Alejandra Yaga with the Engineering Department. So this item's for the purchase of a device to measure reflectivity on signs and markings and essentially remove any subjectivity.
So moved. Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Jackson.
Resolution 25009 is approved 4-0. Anything else, Director? All right, we will move into our public comments portion of the meeting. And let's see, we'll go in order. I do have a couple things before we get started. I kind of was back and forth on whether to say this or not, so I hope it doesn't come across in a way that I did not intend. If it does, I'm sure you'll let me know. And I'm going to read it so I get it right. And it's kind of long, so if I go past 4 minutes, I'm sorry. I want to take a few minutes to talk about a few things, and generally around some things that have happened after the last 2 meetings. It was brought to my attention last week that there were some insensitive comments made by Councilman Pepper to Reggie McKenzie, Jaden DeJarnett's grandfather, after our council meeting 2 weeks ago. Unequivocally, these comments and behavior are not to be the standard that the public should expect from an elected official, and I wholly denounce those comments. I did have a conversation with Councilman Pepper following the meeting regarding his behavior in the meeting, and I do think he took that conversation seriously. It is fine and expected to have differing opinions at times, but it is not fine to disrespect others or to try and escalate a tense situation. We, as elected officials, as leaders, must set the standard of respect for others, regardless of whether or not we agree or disagree with them. If, as a city, state, country, or planet Earth, we cannot have a baseline of respect for each other as people made in God's image, we will never be able to work together to achieve any progress. Unfortunately, respect for others is not something that is rewarded in society today, especially when it comes to politics and social media. If someone has a differing opinion, they are regarded as the enemy, and there is no expectation to respect them as a person. This is sad and it is wrong. As for me, if I have not shown you respect for any reason, maybe I was frustrated, tired, and sometimes I'm ready to go home, I'm sorry for that. That's a failure on my part, and I must and will do better. And specifically, I see a couple of people, Ms. Daly, Mr. Faruqi. There were probably times I was disrespectful to you, and for that, I'm sorry. And there are others too, but I just noticed you in the audience. Some will say, I'm not going to respect people who have disrespected me, or people have to earn my respect before I'm going to respect them. I've had that thought as well. However, when we read the Bible and understand the gospel, we know that Jesus, even when we disrespected him, when we opposed him, he respected us. He forgave us. He died for us. As Paul says in Romans, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So I'm going to follow that lead. Over the last year, I've been criticized for being a weak leader, for not using the power of this seat and gavel to silence you, to silence people. And I guarantee on the Facebook comments right now, they're saying it right now. There have certainly been times when I should have stood up for people, specifically city employees, who were not treated with respect in a public meeting, and I need to do a better job of that. However, I consider weak leadership to be using power to silence people, and I will not do that. Once again, our ultimate example laid down his life for people who were rebels to him. If that is weak leadership, then so be it. Sign me up. So I'm asking that we all, starting with the elected leadership, the mayor and the council, that we create an environment of respect for each other. We can and will disagree on things, but I hope we can at least respect each other as people made in the image of God. I'm almost done. I'm actually done. Having said all that, as we move into the public comments today, first off, thanks for listening, and I hope it came across the right way. And it's sincere, and I hope it came across that way, but it's been on my heart, so I wanted to share it. Having said all that, as we move into public comments, I do want to remind everyone of our rules, which I try to every week, which I have a responsibility to maintain. Everyone will have 3 minutes to speak. When that time is up, you'll hear a buzzer, and then you'll have 1 minute to wrap up. When that minute is up, I will respectfully again ask you to wrap up. We will not allow any profanity. This is the warning. There will not be another warning in regards to profanity. Also remember, this is your opportunity to speak to the council, not city employees. I know sometimes that gets a little confusing, but just try to remember it's your chance to address us, the council, so please address your comments to city council members. I don't know how long that took, but maybe it was 4 minutes. We'll go in order, and we'll, like we always do. First is Sarah French.
I'm a little disheartened and frustrated at the 16-month mark. but it won't last because we are strong. But we knew and have been waiting on this long investigation for 6 months. We have been patient. I was actually told by someone in this building, whether it's true or not, the report was here January 1st. Regardless if that's true or not, our legal team should have been ready to work around the clock once that report hit it and got it done. Some things are just more important than others, and I would hope that after everything we have seen over the past 16 months, our city would have been more than ready to dive into this and get it ready for the public. So it saddens me that this was not the case. Yes, I understand you have to work with schedules and at times where people can get together and not, but again, this was something we knew was coming for months, and yet it's January 21st, and we still don't have it in our hands for the public. It doesn't change the fight. It just shows me the city may actually never get behind us in doing what's right for Decatur and justice for Steve Perkins.
Mike Stovall.
I'm gonna pass that.
Lisa.
I really didn't have much to say neither, but first I'm going to say I salute you for that one, Jacob. I think all of us appreciate that statement, and I hope it was genuine. Like I said, I really don't have much to say. I do have one question, though. I understand you guys are waiting for legal to do whatever y'all have to do to retract the report so that you can present it to us. But you said you all have seen it, right? So with that being said, have you all... I mean, we don't need to see the report for y'all to figure out how y'all gonna fix this, right? At the end of the day, ultimately, if I be honest, I don't even care what's in the, I mean, I care, but I don't care whose names it is. I think he's the issue, and we gotta get him out of here. He's gotta go, and no harm, Todd, because I don't know you as a person. You may be a good guy. Your job, you just can't do it. And it doesn't take the report for y'all to know that. In the last 16 months, we've had situation after situation, from high-speed chases to these little kids out here with guns bigger than them, to the police. They do more stuff on Line Street than they doing with what's really going on out here in the community. Obviously we have more than one rapist, right? Because, I mean, one lady said she thought it was him, but the police are saying it's not him. So that means we've got multiple people out here taking advantage of women. I don't know if you know about, well, of course, I'm sure you know about the man at the Highway 20 trying to snatch women up in the trucks. Different women put it on the Morgan County scanner page. There's issues with our police department, and Todd needs to go. And we don't need the report back to know that that's the case. Would you not agree?
I'll answer your first question. There will have to be discussion on things that are in the report on how those are going to be changed and what those changes will be. There's no question about that.
So ultimately, do you still believe after seeing the report that Todd is a good fit for the chief?
I'll give you the same answer I gave to the newspaper last week. That is a question I will answer, but I think you all need to see the report first.
I don't think I need to see the report. I think the last 16 months have showed me enough.
I'm not ready to answer that question.
Okay, well, then so that means that you may not feel like he needs to go either, which is scary because you guys are our leadership. Todd is our leadership. You all are our leadership. We depend on y'all to do what's right. My mother's always said, right is right, wrong is wrong. Right has never wronged nobody. So with that being said, either if you're not good at your job, you got to go. Well, I ain't even going to go there. That's irrelevant. If you're not good at your job, you have to go, and that should be with any job, especially the top dog. Yeah, they got rid of the fire, the man for the fire, and demoted him all the way down. And Lord knows, his statement isn't compared to nothing to what this one is lacking. I mean, and I'm not going to let up off of it, McMasters. I'm not, and the pressure's going to be on you and maybe on Jacob now, too. I appreciate your statement, Jacob, but you just scared me with what you said, and I'm just going to be honest. Have a good day. Justice for Steve Perkins.
Thanks, Lisa. Elena.
I don't really have a lot to say either. I've taken a big break and back, and I respect your statement about being disrespectful because I've had to take a huge step back and see how much that this has affected
the person that I'm becoming, being a young person, and with Hunter Pepper, knowing him, growing up with him, seeing him become the adult that he's becoming with the leadership that's supposed to be around him, it has me worried for that boy. It has me worried for him. And I do pray for him because I hope that one day he realizes that disrespect is not going to get you anywhere, but information will. And that's what got me up here in the first place, was giving you information that you didn't have, that you should have as leaders. Now you have the information in front of you, and I respect. Take your time answering your question. I understand that. Give it a dramatic effect if you need to. But your legal team should have been ready for this. They should have been more than ready. You got the report on January 1st. It should have been released within at least 2 weeks. We're here on the 21st. What are we still doing? I know what's going to be in that report. I talked to Green Research. I've spent 30 days in jail because of his officers. I know what's going to be in that report. What I want to know now is what you're going to do about it. I'm gone. I've moved from Decatur because of what happened to me here in Decatur. Because I stood up for something that I believed in as a young person. But I come back here every single time to make sure that you do the right thing. And you've got to do the right thing. He should not stay in the position that he's in. And you know that. And half of the officers that he has hired should not stay in the positions that they are in. He is weak leadership, and allowing it to happen shows how weak your leadership is. That's right. You've got to do better. There are people that depend on you. There are kids who depend on you. There are young adults trying to get and figure out their way in life who depend on you. Don't let us have to sit up here day in and day out, week after week, begging you to do the right thing over and over again like we've done for 16 months. When that report comes out on Friday, he better be gone on Monday. Justice for Steve.
Justice for Steve.
Mrs. Daly, Mr. Faruqi.
I just want to clarify, and I appreciate all your comments, Jacob, about where your heart is today, and I think we can all take a look at that and say we can do better. And I want to clarify, I'm not anti-employees of Decatur. My issue is about process. If there's no policy, then there's a problem. And so I'm solely about process. In terms of process, liaison responsibility that I've addressed with all of you on numerous occasions for any number of things, you've got to take better responsibility of that. We have to. And then legislative activities versus a board of directors. A board of directors will never have a hearing on whether the police are or not meeting the standard that we establish as a citizen here in Decatur. That's your responsibility to do that. And you can do that. I'm glad to see some of the folks here are here for the hearing, the duration of the hearing. Typically, they leave when the mayor did. So I'm glad to see that has potentially changed. Now, about the Green Report, at least one of you has come online and said they're concerned about the results. It was hypothetically asked by you, Jacob, about if the report should have some information that could impact a future prosecution should you reveal that, or should it be redacted. And I think in your heart of hearts, you know it should not be redacted, because if it can impact a future upcoming trial for a citizen of Decatur, or any citizen, or have an impact on whether or not the prosecution will have to go on appeal because of that action, yes, by God, it ought to be released. We know that.
I just would, to use the term of the day, respectfully disagree, and if you don't think I'm right, you can feel free to call the judge who's elected in Morgan County and the district attorney's office and ask them their opinion on that. We really should not be having any discussion whether it was a gag order, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm not talking about the...
I know, I'm just telling you that they do not want to expect conversation about a criminal trial that's coming up in a few months released or discussed or anything like that. And that's just a fact. So, but I would defer you to that if you don't trust my opinion.
Okay. So if in good conscience you do not want to release it or do not feel it should be released, while the city attorney can advise you, he is not the authority on whether it is released or not. So you've all seen the report. You all know what's in it. You know items will be redacted, but it's your call whether or not it gets released. It's not his. Now, if Green Research took 3 months to review 1,150 hours of police body cam footage, and if there are only 40 officers within the department, and they only work 8 hours per day, and the review equates to only 3.6 days in the life of the department, or 1% of that year, and you are this concerned as you are, what is going on with the other 364 days of the year that we are not and others are not seeing? That is why a hearing needs to be done on this release of this information. Even if we accept and excuse the city council as a part-time job, it does not excuse your lack of intellectual curiosity in not doing what needs to be done. Thank you.
Good morning. I just had a few questions and statements, but my first question is, have you all decided how the report will be released to the public?
It will be on the website, from what I understand, and likely released to the media as well.
Okay.
That's probably.
So the city website?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know, like, where specifically?
I don't.
Okay.
The media probably will get it to people
Mm-hmm.
from the city website will, but,
Okay. Has there been an official day this week?
defer to Herman on that.
Has there been an official day?
We've shared before, it'll be no later than 5 o'clock this Friday.
So, okay.
I mean, that's where we're having change. No, we're on schedule, okay? I didn't want you to think we're going to try to delay something.
Oh, no, I don't think that. I just wanted to get more specifics. Regarding the redactions, I know there's not much you'll say regarding it, but I do feel like it should be noted that Mobile had 103 pages for their investigative report, and it only took them 1 day to redact information. I understand where it comes into play. You know, you want to protect people's confidentiality, especially if they're like, I don't know, a minor, or if they are going through legal proceedings. But when it comes to being transparent in actual situations that have affected this community, that does not need to be redacted. And I'm not assuming it, I just want to make that statement. I believe in respect and integrity, so I do appreciate Jacob's comment, his statement, his speech, but I also believe in shame. And McMasters, I feel like every Monday when we come in here, you write on your notepad, you don't make eye contact, you're extremely rude, you play both sides, you don't know what side you're on, you come in here, you're very quiet, you go outside and you want to have conversations. Why are you having conversations with people in the public about the report and downplaying it, and don't play with me, and downplaying it, stating that it isn't that bad?
Well, so the reason I have conversations outside is oftentimes.
But why are you speaking about a report that has not been released to the public? If you all are trying to protect the integrity and confidentiality of people and the process, why are you, as an elected official, speaking about a report that we, citizens, pay for, that we have not even received yet, that we are begging for? Why do you feel the need to go out and do damage control on behalf of your friend?
It's not damage control.
It is. It is. It's damage control because you have most of the council who have said they found trouble findings, and they've even stated the trouble findings, a small percent of it. You are intentionally saying, and I'm sure the report has good and bad because the report was to be done fairly. You are intentionally saying it isn't that bad as if you want to get ahead of things. Why are you even discussing it with people? Why? Why are you discussing a report that has not been released to the public?
The details of the report.
Oh, you're not?
The details.
You're not?
The details.
You're not?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Because I need you to understand that this is not for play, and we're not playing with you, and you're not going to sit in my face, and you're not going to sit in this community's face and lie. You said you're not discussing? You said,
Hold on, there's a difference.
hold on, you said you're not discussing the report, right?
I'm not discussing the details of
Okay.
the report.
Y'all heard that, right?
The details of the
Y'all heard that, right? Okay.
Thank you, Anissa. Anissa brought up the Mobile report. You're right, it was 1 day. There are also, if you read that, massive amounts of redactions. I actually think we will have totally much less, but there were full pages that were
Yeah, that's been.
completely redacted. I just wanted to
I
make
was
that
simply
clear.
speaking about the time.
I understand, yeah. It was one day. All right, Sharonda.
All right, so I just have a couple of questions. It's etched in stone that we'll receive it by 5 p.m. on the 24th, correct?
Yes.
That didn't seem confident.
Well, I guess- Yes.
I'm sorry, what,
It will be released by Friday.
yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes.
If
All right.
there's a massive World War III that breaks out, I mean, you know, but yes.
Okay. So, what encouraged us to get green technologies?
What encouraged
The hiring.
just to do the review? I think I stated this last week, and I know there was other people that had conversations, so y'all can jump in if you want. For me, it was very much that there were a lot of things being said, stories being told, some of which are true, and some of which were not. And so we were being asked to make decisions based on basically hearsay. And then when we had the gag order hearing, when people had to testify under oath, we found out some concerning things. I mentioned it last week. We had a lieutenant that was threatening to fight people's spouses in parking lots on a Facebook burner page, okay? So that to me was it. We've got to figure out what the facts are, and that's the reason I called. I know Billy had conversations with Green before that. We didn't know. We were each talking to them separately. That's kind of...
And a lot of those statements and stories that you heard came through the city council meetings, and a lot of us...
And emails.
Right, but generally from here, that's where a lot of it started, right? Okay. Who paid for the report to be done, the review?
Taxpayers.
Okay, of the community of Decatur, right?
General fund, which is taxpayer dollars.
So why are y'all gonna release it to the media before you release it to us?
I think that's the best way.
But, okay, and I respect that, but what makes you think that that's the best way? Because we're the ones who've been here, and I think that there is a different environment that it could be released, and the media be present, and we receive it at the same
I
time.
guess back to your original question, all the taxpayers paid for it. So I mean, we can print copies and sit, I don't really know the better way to get something to the mass amount of concern.
I don't think she said it during just us.
Right, correct. As a community, I think that there's a better forum, let's say, to where it could be released, to where we can have dialogue even at the same time that the media is present, to where, again, it's transparent. Because if you release it to the media, then it's going to be able to be narrated how they choose to do so.
It is what it is.
Okay, understood. So, once it's released on Friday, the next city council meeting will be that following Monday, correct?
Yes.
Are we going to be prepared to answer questions directly and not give a blanket statement in response? Because this is something that we've been waiting on. And we've accepted the blanket statements because it hasn't been released. So will we get some matter-of-fact answers from you, Carlton, on where you stand with Pinion based on, okay, from each of you?
Yes. Well, I was going to say this again. Unfortunately, I was hoping the report would be out before this. I will be out next week. Work.
So then we'll have to wait another week.
No.
Well, no, I'm saying to get his response. So even if there was something that,
No one up here is required to say anything. But it's up to each individual person to do that.
okay, so I'm gonna follow up some more then. Okay, so let's say that what we believe to be true and that Pinion needs to go. Let's say that there are multiple of you that agree with that. in order to force him, because he clearly is not going to resign on his own, even though he may, after the report is released, you know, he may decide then, hey, it's out there, I've got to go. If he does not, then the process to get rid of him has to be a majority vote, correct?
No, it's super majority, so it would require 4 of the whole body. So it would require 4 council votes.
Okay, so given the release of the report, although we are all entitled, you all work as a body, are you going to do us right? Friendships aside, we're going to look at it as a whole. We're going to hold you to that. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharonda. All right, anything
Oh,
else?
justice for Steve. Justice for Steve.
All right, we will stand adjourned.